Ella Gordon and I work at Jamieson Smiths, and this is just going to be a video going over the differences between woolen and worsted spun yarns. At Jamieson Smiths we have quite a few ranges that are the same thickness, but we offer them in both a woolen and a worsted spun, which I know can be kind of confusing. So I thought I would just go through what the difference is and why you might choose one over the other. So in the spinning process, the difference between woolen and worsted is woolen spun, the fibres are carded before they're spun, which means they're kind of carded back and forth, and it makes all the fibres within it more kind of higgledy-piggledy and together, and kind of traps air in it. Whereas in the worsted spun process, everything is combed, so all the fibres are lying parallel to each other, and through this combing process it also takes out a lot of the shorter fibres, which makes it a kind of softer yarn. And so we offer in our 1-ply range, we have the Shetland Supreme 1-ply, so this is the worsted spun, and then we have the 1-ply cobweb, which this is the woolen spun. So the difference kind of in it, I mean, you can see when you're looking at the yarn, the Supreme 1-ply is slightly thinner and the 1-ply cobweb is slightly loftier. So that is because of the two different spinning processes. And the reason you might choose one over the other for your project would depend on what the kind of finished thing is going to be. The 1-ply cobweb has a much kind of crisper feeling, and I would say more stitch definition, whereas the Supreme 1-ply is more kind of ethereal and kind of, you can see it in the scarf that's here, it has more of a drape. So if you were making something which maybe worn more like a scarf or a stole, or something that the drape would be more beneficial, you might want to go for the Supreme. And if you were making something like a 1-ply shawl or something that's more of a heirloom piece, then you might go for the 1-ply cobweb. So then we also offer the kind of same thing in 2-ply lace. So we have the Shetland Supreme 2-ply and then the woolen spun 2-ply lace weight. The woolen spun lace weight, they're a mix of 50% Shetland and 50% lamb's wool, whereas the Supreme lace are 100% Shetland wool. So you can see with this too, because the fibres are combed, they can kind of poke out a little bit more, but it's actually not, because a lot of the shorter fibres that people might find more itchy have been taken out. It doesn't make an itchier yarn. And then yeah, you can see in the 2-ply lace, it just has kind of more of a cottony feeling. Okay, and then for the kind of thicker yarns that you may use for Fair Isle or colour work, I thought I would show you the differences kind of between the two processes and how it affects Fair Isle and colour work. So we have the two woolen spun 4-ply weights we have is the just normal jumper weight, and then we also have the Supreme jumper weight. This is the undyed. And then we have the Shetland Heritage available in a dyed and an undyed. And although these are slightly thinner thickness, they're kind of between a 2-ply lace weight and the jumper weight, but you can see the difference. So because in the woolen spun it's been combed, like I say, this makes for a kind of smoother yarn, slightly less itchy, and you can see in this one, it creates a very kind of flat, but a very even look on it, compared to this is the jumper weight, which is much more kind of lofty, and the yarn is slightly thicker, so it does look like that. But you can kind of see more of the fibres interacting with each other than what you can here. And then, so the good thing about these two is although they give a kind of different final feeling, they both actually are very traditional in their own way. So originally people would have been hand spinning, which you could do either woolen or worsted spun, but people did do worsted spun, and that is what we were recreating with those yarns. And then we also have slightly thicker in the worsted Aran. So traditionally, I suppose Aran weight yarn would be woolen spun quite often, but it actually does work very well for a thicker yarn to have it in the worsted spun method, and which you can see here in the worsted Aran, it works really well for kind of thicker colour work, but also you can use it in just plain knitting or something like this with a kind of Gansey motif. Because of that spinning process, it gives it very good stitch definition. Because as you can see in the woolen spun, it has a slightly fuzzier look, which is actually quite nice and what you want in kind of Fair Isle, especially when you're using certain colours, because they'll all kind of blend together. I mean, this is quite a traditional, very solid pattern, but if you were using very heathered colours, because there would be such a subtle shift between them, they would all kind of blend together. And then with these worsted spun ones, they are much flatter and more solid, which is also very effective. So if you're interested in more about our entire yarn range, we have another video which goes from the 1 ply up to the chunky, but I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you want to see any of our yarns, products or patterns, you can visit our website at www.shetlandwoolbrokers.co.uk.